Right, so you need to know how this whole league stuff works. Well, you've come to the right place. We're gonna cover all the basic things and a couple of advanced things so you're completely ready to start the next old school Runescape League. This video is mainly focused around Leagues 5 Raging Echoes, but most of the basics will probably apply to any league to come. So, without further ado, let's get into it. A league is a temporary game mode that you can play by going to the world selector and picking a league world. This means that you can't play on a league world and a main game world at the same time, unfortunately. In these worlds, you'll get increased XP rates and increased drop rates. The further you get, the higher these become, starting with 5 times more XP all the way up to 16 times more XP. And from the basic league's 2 times drop rate all the way up to 5 times more likely that you'll get your rare drop. The league lasts 8 weeks this time, so plenty of time to make those gains. But how do you get further? Well, by completing tasks. Every single league has a slightly new task list, ranging from easy to difficult tasks. The more difficult the task, the more points you get for it. The key difference between points and tasks is this. You need an amount of tasks to unlock a new region, and you need a certain amount of points to get a new relic. Which brings us to the next chapter. Since Raging Echoes, every league is based on 2 pillars: relics and region unlocks. And with every league having an extra gimmick on top of this base layer. This league's gimmick being echo bosses, but more on that later. You get 2 regions for free, Misselin and Karamja. And you'll be able to unlock 3 extra ones the more tasks you complete. So in total, you'll only be able to unlock 5 regions, and that means you do have to do a little bit of planning to get to the content you actually want to do. I've made a video on a couple builds that you could do in this Raging Echo League, and I'll leave that video in the description if you're not sure on what you want to do yet. But if you guys want to make something absolutely from scratch yourself, you can absolutely do that. I even encourage it. I'll give you guys some hints on how to do that in just a couple minutes. But as I said, the next pillar is relics. These are powerful buffs that you can get on your character by getting a certain amount of points from all those tasks you've been doing. There are multiple tiers of relics, ranging from tier 1 to tier 8. The first one you get in the first second you log into a league. The higher tier, the stronger these relics become and the more points you'll need to unlock them. Keep note that the relic decision is permanent, so you will have to put a little bit of thought into what you're going to be unlocking. There's relics that give you more special attack, better teleports, a mini kingdom of miscellanea, and so much more. These are really what give leagues that unique feeling. And if you're thinking of not playing the league because it's too much like main game, trust me, these change it up so much you won't even recognize the game you're playing. Now, before I can get into specific strategies and things to make the league a little less overwhelming for you, I have to make it a little bit overwhelming for you. Since this year, and maybe in the next leagues to come, we have a new system called Combat Masteries. Without getting too deep into it, it's basically a skill tree of every single combat style. You got your attack, range, and mage, and a bunch of points that you can allocate to whichever one you want to buff. Per task you complete, from the ones on the bottom left here, you get 1 skill point that you can put in any of these styles, starting from tier 1. And with every tier, on top of the combat style you're buffing, you also get a strong passive effect. As a beginner, I'd honestly just look up a build guide and just copy that, but feel free to tinker with this one yourself and maybe ask a more experienced friend to see what they like, and together you can probably come up with a very valid combat mastery plan. So now that most theoretical things are out of the way, let's get you ready to hop into the servers. Starting with how you pick your regions. My advice is always pick 2 bosses that you can do and 1 you want to learn. This way you can pretty clearly see a path that you can probably take. Now additionally, in Raging Echoes, as I just said, we have echo bosses, which are a stronger variation than the normal version of the boss. So especially this time, it'd be nice if you could take on an echo form boss of a boss that you already know. I believe that you should definitely be able to take one of them on, if not all of them. I personally learned the Theater of Blood in Trailblazer 1 and the Corrupted Gauntlet in Shattered Relics, so if there's any time to learn content and pick at least 1 boss out of your comfort zone, it is a league. Since you already have Misselin and Karamja unlocked for free, you shouldn't be too worried about having enough tasks to complete at the start. A couple recommendations for good early starter regions are Kandarin and Varlamore. Whilst on the contrary, regions that you should probably not unlock first are Mauritania and Tiranwin. Now, how to pick your relics. Honestly, it's whatever looks most fun to you. I know that's shit advice, but the relics are usually pretty well explained on the cards. And even though you might not see every little intricacy or every use case, you probably can get a pretty decent grasp of what they're about. I'd suggest you read through the relics, make like a basic plan, and then check out streamers or YouTubers who are very far ahead, and then if you see them using a cool relic that you want to use, then change your plans. Go ahead. I'll personally be live at any degenerate hour this week, gaming like crazy, so if you guys want to ask some questions, come in for some inspiration, or just want to hang out, I'll be on twitch.tv/only_trails. Link will be in the description. Now you've got a basic grasp of what you're going to play, you're in game, you're completing tasks, but you're brickwalling on certain things. For some of you guys, it might be your first Iron Man. How do you make money? Now, money making early on is tough, but sometimes the league will provide some relics that could help you early on. Usually there's an agility relic that will give you 10k cash that'll spawn on top of every mark of grace, or a thieving relic that will greatly enhance the amount of money you pickpocket per hour. But aside from the usual relics, there's also some standard Iron Man money makers. Unfortunately for many, wilderness is king in early game money making. Picking up steel plate bodies and selling them to Horvik and Varrock for a higher price, or picking up steel plate legs and selling them to the general store. You could go to lava dragons, which also provide some good alchables, and on top of that, bones for training prayer. Along with the wilderness agility cores and the revenants, it's very difficult to overlook the wilderness for early money making. In the desert, you have the agility pyramid, which gets you 10k coins every time you complete a run. The gem stores in Varlamore and Alcarid are instanced, which means that you can buy infinite uncut gems, cut them, and sell them back for huge profit margins. Canron has a Knights of Ardone, which you can pickpocket regardless of whether you have a thieving relic or not. They're always decent money. As always, Wintertot is still an option if you go Zaya. After all these years, this also still holds up, and you'll be able to complete a good bunch of tasks while making money. In the main areas, you can go to Puro Puro and catch higher tier implings for some very nice loot. Soul Wars' Spoils of War also provide quite a good bit of starter cash, or stealing jewelry from the Ham storerooms is also instantly possible at 20 thieving since the quest is auto-unlocked. Not every region is great for early game money making, and they don't have to be. If none of the regions that I just mentioned are in your plans, then just look into the relics that I mentioned at the start to get you some starter cash. So by now you're running around, getting tasks, unlocking regions, getting money, but sometimes you'll still feel like you're stuck. You'll feel like you're brick-walled and there's no more tasks to complete. Well, for that, it'd be a good idea to install the WikiSync plugin on RuneLite. By enabling this plugin and connecting it to the OldSchool RuneScape wiki, you'll be able to see which tasks you have already completed. Even better if you sort by completion. You can see what percentage of people have completed what task. This is a great way to check if you've accidentally missed some easy tasks that you can just go and pick up right now. Additionally, if you really want to get invested and you're looking for some people to boss with or some like-minded people with the same regions, you can always join the League Discord. That will also be linked in the description. Once again, to get more inspiration or ask more questions, you can always come to my stream or check out any other content creators' videos or streams, because they'll always have a special way to complete certain tasks that you might have not even thought of. I really hope this helped. I'll see you in the stream or in the next video. Enjoy the League. Peace.